Hi everyone, it's Anastasia here, and I have a baby explosion box to share with you today. I'm using mainly products from Swedish house Kraft, and I'm starting with the box itself, and I'm just using Kraft colored cardstock. This is 12 by 12 inches, and I'm just scoring on both sides at 4 inches and then 8 inches, and this will basically create a 4-inch kind of a box. And the lid, I basically have that at 6 inches and 1/8 of an inch, and I just score 1 inch on each side. And here I am back to the box base itself, and I'm just cutting each of those corner squares from the paper because we won't need them, but of course you can use them if you want to create tags or anything else that you want to be associated with the box. You can of course use a trimmer, but I just use my large Tim Holtz scissors for that. It just works better for me. I tend to be a bit off when it comes to the knives and stuff. So those scissors really work for me. Then I'm just folding on the score lines and burnishing and see if things measure up. So this basically means that each and every square is 4 by 4 inches. And then we get to the lid, and you just cut into one of the score lines in each of the 4 corners. And then I just fold on the score lines and burnish. And then I'll be putting that little flap on the inside. I feel that keeps the lid more secure. Then do it on the outside or all at the same spot. I have no idea whether I'm right or not, but it just makes me feel easier. And I'm just making sure that everything measures and fits perfectly. And now for the main attraction of this box. This is a chipboard piece from Laserow, which you can get from Swedish house Crafts, and I will have links to everything I use down below. And this is really delicate, so I recommend when you're taking this out of the chipboard background or piece to use a craft knife, because these are really delicate, and if you push too vigorously you might tear these pretty things, so be careful. And like I say, I'm just taking these out of the background piece, and then it's time for the construction part, I guess. I'm using multi-medium matte glue from Ranger because it's a really strong glue and it dries matte, so there's no shiny bits or anything showing. Even though this piece isn't that difficult to put together, it can be time consuming because these pieces are oh so tiny and delicate and fragile. Don't forget the fragile. So it takes a bit of maneuvering to get these things together. So just be warned that you will have to fiddle to make sure things fit properly and everything looks great. And I'm so sorry for my hat getting in the way, but I really had to see what I was doing there. And I'm using my reverse tweezers just to help me get this sorted. Now make sure you let the glue dry completely. And then I decided to color the rocking horse with my Heidi Swap Color Shine in gold. I know this is discontinued, but I will link to other gold sprays that will work just as fine. I really like coloring these chipboard pieces with my mists because it's just an easy way of coloring and they always look great. And now for the lid, I am adding score tape to the flaps to make sure that everything fits together. And you can of course decorate the lid before or after with pattern paper, just depending on what you prefer. I like to decorate the lid before I glue anything, but I want to make sure that I have a tape in place before I start. And score tape or scrapbook.com double-sided adhesive work great for this, really strong stuff. And now I get to the pattern papers. These are Pion design pattern papers called Theodore and Bella. And I'm inking the edges with Tim Holtz Distress ink, and this is in tea dye. I just really like to ink the edges, just, I don't know, just add so much but with such a little effort. And then when I'm finished inking all the edges, I'm just started by figuring out to where I wanted each piece to be placed, and I'm just sticking these down with my ATG and just going around. And I'll have pattern papers on the inside and on the outside, as well as on the middle square. You see there that it's empty, and then also be decorating the bottom of the box, so it's loads of pattern papers all over the place. Well, I'm always making sure that the images are in the same direction, so to speak. So when you open the box, these images are all, let's say, going in the same direction of sorts. And like I said, I also covered the lid with pattern paper. I didn't record that because it's just the same thing, and then I just stuck everything together. And then I want to decorate the top, and I'm adding this doily. It's a Kraft color doily with gold polka dots, and it's from Michael's, and I'm adding that to the lid to give it even more texture and just basically something to look at. And then on top of that, I'll be adding this chipboard from Lasero, and I had already colored that with the same color shine as I did the rocking horse. So my plan was to glue this on top of the doily, but then after looking at it, it felt a little bland. It kind of just disappeared into that doily. So I will be changing the lid up by using the Kraft cardstock that I used on the box itself. I'll be die cutting that, and I'll show you that in a little bit, and that just made things so much better. As you can see, it's a bit, I don't know, colorless really. Now for the rocking horse, it's all dried and nice, so I will be adding that to the center of the box. So that is basically the main piece. When you open up the box, this is the first thing you really see. But before I stick it down, it needs a bit of ground to sit on, so to speak. So I die cut from that same cardstock, and I also used 2 colors of Nuvo drops to decorate, and this is the die I use from Gummiapan. I used a smaller circle for the flaps and the larger one for the center. And the point of having these smaller circles on the side is that you can write messages onto those. So if you're gifting this to someone, you can write your messages and congratulations or sort, and then you can leave some of these blank, so then maybe the parents, like if you're giving it for christening, can add the weight and all those information. Now as you saw that I had already added, oh that's my little girl, seeing how that rocking horse will work. Like I said before, I added that circle as well to the lid, just to make the doily more center of attention, what like. And I'm also using multimedia matte to stick the rocking horse to the center and just put it aside and let it dry. And now I'm adding even more decoration to the box. I am picking several flowers, both paper and fabric, and I'm just sticking them on the top there. And I'm using score tape and multimedia matte. I'm not sure if it really matters at all regarding whether they stay there for longer or not, but I don't know, I don't know, it's a peace of mind really. Because I really don't want these to fall off if I give this to someone. That wouldn't be the best of days. And those larger flowers are from Swedish house Kraft, and the white ones are from I Am Roses. And I'm just adding flowers where I think they will look good and I need it, and I do like flowers, so I try to add them on every single project I create. And I'm also adding those flowers to the center itself. Now that the glue is mostly dry, I'm just adding, like I say, flowers on either side of the rocking horse. It just gives it a bit more texture and life and whatnot. And because you have all these 4 inches to play with, so why not add something to please the eye, so to speak. And like I said, I'm just adding these to each side of the rocking horse, and then I'm adding those smaller paper ones as well. There's no rhyme or reason to how many flowers or anything I'm adding, just what looks nice, and when I'm happy I'll stop. And even though this is like a 3D kind of a project, I do like the simplicity, or this the look of things being quite simple. Now, when you look at the top, I didn't quite like how you just saw an empty space between the or inside that rocking horse, so I decided why not to add a large flower on top. It just looks better from above. And I'm also just adding score tape and Ranger multimedia matte as well, just to make sure that everything stays in place and nothing is going anywhere, at least not anytime soon. And that almost finishes my box. I just wanted to add a touch of sparkliness to the lid, so I used the same Nuvo drops that I used for the inside of the box on top there, and I used both the green and the gold one. It just looks better to have them both on the inside and on the lid, so that is not as weird, I suppose. It's not needed, but I don't know, it just gives it, I don't know, a more complete look, I suppose. And even though things aren't all dry, I just wanted to make sure that everything looked good when I put it together. And now it all looks fine. All it needs to do is dry, and then you get that little happy explosion. And here are some still shots that you can have a closer look. And like I said, I have everything linked down below. And if you like this, I'll be ever so happy if you give it a thumbs up. So thanks so much for watching. Bye.